bespoke radio for the masses.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
If the game is rigged, change the game. Game changer.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
This is Fade to Black with your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
I need your help to get to the year 1985.
You're listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Yeah. Fade to Black. Bespoke radio for the masses. That's right, it's Thursday, November 17th. 322 days into the new year. Just 44 days left. And I would like to welcome everybody listening all around the world, all across the United States. Hither and thither, to and fro, back and forth, up and down, east and west, north and south, far and near. This is Fade to Black for KJCR, the Game Changer Network, and KGRA, the Planet. I'm your so humble host, Jimmy Church. What is cracking, everybody? Yeah, tonight, it's Thursday, and it's another Fader Night with Jon Rappoport. And it's No More Fake Newsroom live. And you know what that means? It's open lines all night long. The call-in number is 323-825-5045. I do want to remind everybody, tomorrow night I'll be sitting in for George Norrie over at Coast to Coast AM. And my guest will be tomorrow night, Brian Lunduke, followed by Open Lines, because it's Friday, and that's what we do over at Coast. So it's 2 nights of Open Lines for me, back to back. That's what Fader Night does. Fader Night warms me up for Coast on a Friday night. Think about that for a second. You guys are helping me out. You know what I mean? It's a continuation show tomorrow night. And then Saturday, I'm going to have Ira Pastor. He's the Chief Executive Officer of BioCork, Inc., biomedical interventions for brain death, utilizing the most cutting-edge neuro-regeneration and neuro-reanimation technologies available. And then, after last night's show with Ronnie LeBlanc, I pulled the trigger. So I'm going to have Ronnie on Saturday night, too, as well, over at Coast. All right. Now, how is that for not only a weekend on Coast, it's just a week of Fade to Black and Coast to Coast, man. There you go. Ronnie killed it last night. I just sat back and went, you know what? He needs to be heard. He needs to be heard. So we're going to have him over at Coast following Ira Pastor. Okay. Now, tonight, follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. That's what you want to do. Follow us on Twitter at JChurchRadio. It's Thursday night, so I'll do my normal Thursday night routine here. If you are new to the show, tonight's your first night listening. Tonight is Open Lines. Okay? It's your show. Open Lines all night long. 323-825-5045. Now, if you don't have a Twitter account, go and get yourself a Twitter account. If you do have a Twitter account, get TweetDeck and you just get TweetDeck. Go over to Twitter. It's a Twitter product. Download it. Get your columns going. That's what you do, because the sandbox is hashtag F2B. Come and hang out with us live during the show. We also have the chat rooms over at KGRA and Spreaker. Okay, there's plenty of ways to hang out and stay interactive throughout the show tonight. But Thursday night is all about you. Don't forget that. You have any questions or comments during the show tonight? Hashtag F2, that's the number 2, F2BQ. Fade to Black questions. Simple enough. And if you have TweetDeck, you've got an F2BQ column. You've got an F2B column. You've got your column and a couple of others. And then you never have to hit notifications or update or click or do anything because it all runs automatically. TweetDeck is amazing, and it will change your life. You will start to figure out what Twitter is meant to be. All right, you can email throughout the show tonight, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Simple enough. Just make it good. Get it past the producers here. It will make its way in here to me. Our sponsors, Life Change Tea. No joke. Let me see here. It's 7 after. Okay, 7 after. So 9 minutes ago, 2 till, I did my drops. My Life Change Tea Moringa, my Life Change Tea Vitamin C. I ran out of the olive leaf yesterday. And what I did, I was trying to get the last drop out of it, and I held it up. This is during the show. And I held it up and looked at the bottle, and there's like a quarter inch, just one swallow. I did like a week's worth of olive leaf. Man, it just tastes so good. So there you go. Did it right before the show tonight. My Allie C. I am good. Go right now to getthetea.com. Click on the banners at Jimmy Church Radio. Use Jimmy when you order. That's the promo code, either over the phone or online. You get free shipping. River Moon Coffee, makers of the Fade to Black blend. Dark, complex, and smoky. Hey, nobody figured that out last night. What's that from? Smoky. But, Dad, it's smoky. Come on. Nobody got that last night. You guys wanted to tweet this and that and goof around and you didn't figure that out? Come on. You guys are better than that. But, Dad, it's smoky. River Moon Coffee, Fade to Black blend. Just go to the River Moon Coffee banner on our site. It is simple to do. Click on it. Promo code is F2B Blend. 15% off of your order today. Somebody had somebody posted today. It was really funny. Rita and I had just gotten to the bunker and we're working, and somebody, hey man, can I get it ground? And so my response was, and I'm farting around on Facebook, right? And I respond back, contact them. They're really cool. Rita yells from down the hall, they grind it. So there you go. If you don't have a coffee grinder, who doesn't have a coffee grinder today? I had read, oh man, it was like 3 months ago, Rita and I were having this debate about this. 5%? Less than 5% out there, coffee drinkers grind their coffee. I can't believe that. I haven't had unbeaned. What am I trying to say? I haven't had ground coffee. I don't even know when. It's been 20, 30 years at least. I've had a grinder since the 80s, for sure, the late 80s. All right. River Moon Coffee, Fade to Black blend. It is truly the best. And I love reading everybody's comments about it because it is. It really is that good. It's amazing, man. All right. Studio Dome. Their FADERNIGHT special, hard shell case packed with a portable Bluetooth sound system featuring the new TWS True wireless stereo technology in a hard shell case, 2 SBB2 speakers, power cables, everything that you need. $129. Promo code JCRTWS gets you 60% off the normal price of $399. And, of course, you're going to get free shipping because you know somebody. You are a FADERNIGHT. Let's get this show cracking today. Happy birthday to Marty Scorsese. He thought I was going to say McFly. Marty Scorsese today is 74. Started thinking, and I do this from time to time. Well, let me do this. Danny DeVito today is 72. Love Danny. He's always going to make the cut because of Get Shorty. Other things too as well, but Get Shorty. Anyway, I started to think about Marty and Danny and what their greatest movies were. Now, Get Shorty for Danny is up there. I mean, that's high, not twins. Don't say twins. But with Scorsese, that's a tough call. It's tough, and I don't know where to go. I really don't. So I'd like to see, hey, Bob, how did you know that? Bob cracked it. The Smokey Robinson commercial. How did you? I am impressed, Bob. How did you do that? Oh, what did you do? Google, but Dad, it's Smokey. Would that even work? Hey, I am impressed. Well, okay, there's more to it than that. You just can't say Smokey Robinson commercial, even though you got it. But that was pretty good. I'm impressed. But Dad, it's Smokey. Marty Scorsese, today, 74. I do like The Departed, though. For some reason, that movie is really well done, even though it's one of his newer ones. But there you go. Our dead guy's birthday today is Jeff Buckley. And it seems that every year on this date, I just go back to Jeff. And I have to. 1966 to 1997. Died at the age of 30. And, of course, he was the son of folk singer Tim Buckley. Buckley, out of New York, just happened to get a huge following in the early 1990s by playing cover songs in Manhattan's East Village. And, I mean, people started to recognize, even though he was doing cover songs, that he had the voice of an angel. He was the real deal. And after turning down and not listening to all of the record labels, everybody that came to court, and he ended up signing with Columbia. He got a band together and then recorded what would be his only album. And that album was Grace. And it's an amazing album. And that happened in 1994. In 2004, Rolling Stone listed him at number 39 on their list of the greatest singers of all time. That's how great Jeff Buckley was. And on May 29th, 1997, 3 years after releasing Grace, he was in Memphis, Tennessee, awaiting the arrival of his band from New York. And he goes down to the Mississippi River. I think his guitar tech was there and watched him, fully clothed, just jump into the river. Just a spontaneous jump. And apparently no drugs were involved or anything. He just jumped in the river and started swimming. But then he got caught up in the wake of a passing boat, got sucked under, and they found his body on June 4th. And it's just a tragic story. Jeff Buckley, happy birthday. His version of Hallelujah is up there. And maybe during one of the breaks tonight, I'll bust that out. All right? I was going to play it tonight before the show, and then I thought, man, I just did it last week with Cohen. And, you know, I didn't know if I could take it twice in a week, but there you go. Happy birthday, Jeff Buckley. On this day in history, 1973, Richard M. Nixon goes on television and insists that he's not a crook. Oh, man. And was then imitated by everybody and quoted for the rest of time. I am not a crook. Fate or fact? Here we go. Okay, I want everybody to get comfortable. Are you comfortable? The studio is dark. I'm letting you know now it is dark. It's as dark as my coffee, right? Dark. It's dark in here. I want you to get comfortable. I'm going to talk to you for a few minutes. Fate or fact? The fate or fact. Tonight, the Axeman of New Orleans. The Axeman of New Orleans was a serial killer who terrorized the city in 1918 and 1919 with 12 confirmed victims. And the Axeman of New Orleans spared any home that was playing jazz, his favorite music. That's right. He was a serial killer. But just as long as you were playing jazz, he left you alone. He was never caught. And the killings stopped as quick as they started. Now, that's the Fader fact. But there's more. On March 13th, 1919, a letter from the Axeman was published in newspapers saying that he would kill again at 15 minutes past midnight on the night of March 19th. But he would spare the occupants of any place where a jazz band was playing. That night, all of New Orleans, all of the dance halls, all of the clubs, all of the bars, all of the professional and amateur bands in the entire city played jazz. They played jazz at hundreds of houses around town. Strangely enough, there were no murders that night. What did the letter say? Well, here it is. From Hell, March 13th, 1919. And it goes on to say, Esteemed mortal, they have never caught me, and they never will. They have never seen me, for I am invisible, even as the ether that surrounds your earth. I am not a human being, but a spirit and a demon from the hottest hell. I am what you Orleanians and your foolish police call the Axeman. When I see fit, I shall come and claim other victims. I alone know who they shall be. I shall leave no clue except my bloody axe, besmeared with blood and brains of he whom I have sent below to keep me company. If you wish, you may tell the police to be careful, not to rile me. Of course, I am a reasonable spirit. I take no offense at the way they have conducted their investigations in the past. In fact, they have been so utterly stupid as to not only amuse me, but His Satanic Majesty, Francis Joseph, etc. But tell me and them to beware. Let them not try to discover what I am, for it were better that they were never born than to incur the wrath of the Axeman. I don't think there is any need of such a warning, for I feel sure the police will always dodge me, as they have in the past. They are wise and know how to keep away from all harm. Undoubtedly, you Orleanians think of me as a most horrible murderer, which I am, but I could be much worse if I wanted to. If I wished, I could pay a visit to your city every night, at will. I could slay thousands of your best citizens, for I am in close relationship with the angel of death. Now, to be exact, at 12:15 earthly time on next Tuesday night, I'm going to pass over New Orleans. In my infinite mercy, I'm going to make a little proposition to you people, and here it is. I am very fond of jazz music, and I swear by all the devils in the nether regions that every person shall be spared in whose home a jazz band is in full swing at the time I have just mentioned. If everyone has a jazz band going, well then, so much the better for you people. One thing is certain, and that is that some of you people who do not jazz it on Tuesday night, if there will be any, will get the axe. Well, as I am cold and crave the warmth of my native Tartarus, and it is about time I leave you again, this earthly home, I will ease my discourse, hoping that thou wilt publish this, that it may go well with thee. I have been, am, and will be the worst spirit that ever existed, either in fact or realm of fancy. Signed, the Axeman. Man. Oh, there's more. Who was the Axeman? Well, crime writer Colin Wilson speculates that the Axeman could have been Joseph Momfrey, a man shot to death in Los Angeles in December 1920 by the widow of Mike Pepitone, the Axeman's last known victim. Wilson's theory has been widely repeated in other true crime books and websites. However, true crime writer Michael Newton searched New Orleans and Los Angeles public police and court records, as well as newspaper archives, and failed to find any evidence of a man with the name Joseph Momfrey, or a similar name, by the way. It's very strange. Nobody was assaulted, nobody was killed in Los Angeles with that name. Newton also was not able to find any information that Mrs. Pepitone, identified in some sources as Esther Albano and in others simply as a woman who claimed to be Pepitone's widow, was arrested, tried, or convicted for such a crime, or indeed had ever been in California. Now, Newton, he goes on to note that Momfrey, and that's Momfre, was not an unusual surname in New Orleans at the time of the crimes. It appears that there actually may have been an individual named Joseph Momfrey, or Mumfrey, Mumfre, in New Orleans, who had a criminal history, and who may have been connected with organized crime. However, local records for the period are not extensive enough to allow confirmation of this or to positively identify this individual. Now, is the Axeman an urban legend? I don't know. There's a lot of evidence out there. And there is no more evidence now on the identity of the killer than there was at the time of the crimes. But the thing is, there's documentation. The killings definitely happened. They started and stopped in 1918, 1919, this rash and the style. It's a very, very, very strange and bizarre case. Some of the Axeman's victims and timeline were this. Joseph and Catherine Maggio were attacked on May 22nd, 1918, while sleeping at their home. The killer broke into the home and then proceeded to cut the people's throats with a straight razor. And in that particular case, by the way, I've done a lot of research on this, and in that particular case, the straight razor came from Joseph, his brother's barbershop. And the straight razor that he was killed with had a nick in it. And he told his brother, he said, man, I'm going to take this home and I'm going to fix it, right? And it turned out, so the police thought it was maybe Joseph's brother that did it because the razor came from his barbershop. But as it turns out, he had an alibi, and that was his story, and that's how the razor got there. Then there's the case of Louis Bessemer and his mistress, Harriet Lowe. They were both attacked in the early morning hours of June 27th, 1918, a couple of weeks later. Bessemer was struck with a hatchet above his right temple, which resulted in possible skull fractures. Lowe was hacked over the left ear. Now, the axe was found at the scene, bloodied. Both were hit in the head with the same axe. They survived. Then there's the case of Mrs. Schneider. She was attacked in the early evening hours of August 5th, 1918. She was 8 months pregnant. 28-year-old. She was 28 years old. She lived on Elmira Street, awoke to find a dark figure standing over her, and was bashed in the face repeatedly. Her scalp had been cut open, and her face was completely covered in blood. She ran down the street, contacted the neighbors, and so forth. She survived. Then there was Joseph Romano. As he slept, he had taken a serious blow to his head, which resulted in 2 open cuts. The assailant wore a dark suit and a slouched hat. Joseph died 2 days later. Then there's Charles Cortamilia and his wife Rosie and their infant daughter Mary. All had been attacked. All were sleeping in the same bed. Unknown intruder during the night. Charles and Rosie survived. Mary, the daughter, did not. Steve Boca was a grocer who was attacked in his bedroom as he slept by an axe-wielding intruder on August 10th, 1919. He survived, but his head was completely cracked open with an axe that was found in the front yard. Then there was Sarah Lawman. She was attacked on the night of September 3rd, 1919. Neighbors came to check on her because they heard a noise. They knew that she lived alone. They broke into the home when she didn't answer the door. They discovered the 19-year-old lying unconscious on her bed, suffering from a severe head injury and missing several teeth. A bloody axe was discovered on the front lawn of the building. Lawman recovered from her injuries, but couldn't recall any details from the attack. Then there's Mike Pepitone. He was attacked on the night of October 27, 1919. His wife awakened by a noise and arrived at the door of his bedroom just as a large axe-wielding man was fleeing the scene. Mike Pepitone had been struck in the head. Blood spatter covered the majority of the room. Mrs. Pepitone, the mother of 6 children, was unable to describe any characteristics of the killer. The Pepitone murder was the last of the alleged Axeman attacks. Now you know. His victims usually were attacked with an axe, which often belonged to the victims themselves. In most cases, the back door of the home was smashed, followed by an attack on one or more of the residents with either an axe or a straight razor. The crimes were not robberies, and the Axeman never removed items from his victims' homes. There you go. Happy dreams tonight, Fadernauts. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Tonight is Fader Night, 323-825-5045. Coming up, Jon Rappoport and his No More Fake newsroom. The Axeman of New Orleans. I'll be right back.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black.
Fade to Black will now pause for alien identification.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio. When you take the beans from Central America with dashes of Indonesian and African mixed in and then roast it to the dark side of Fade to Black, you create the ultimate brew of fringe. Introducing the Fade to Black blend from River Moon Coffee. Yes, River Moon's darkest customized roast was created for the love of Fade to Black. The alchemy of masterful roasting and smoking the beans is in every sip of this full-bodied dark Java. I need my coffee dark, deep, with distinct bittersweet chocolate highlights, just like the bunker. Leaning further into the darkness of the roast is Fade to Black Blend from River Moon Coffee. Just click on the banner at jimmychurchradio.com and use the promo code F2BBLEND for 15% off of your order today. Go Beckley Teppy.
Hi, folks. In a world of GMO, genetically modified organisms, that is, chemicals, processed foods, and a healthcare system that's unraveling like a cheap suit, it's time to prepare. God created herbs, and herbs help man. Our body can heal itself, just sometimes we need assistance. You need some help? GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Our mild detox is quite powerful with its unique blend of 8 different herbs. And if you're looking for more, our non-GMO supplements will help you with different needs you might have. Health should be a top priority. Take care of your health naturally. Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Give your body a treat. Let the herbs do their thing naturally. Read all the testimonies on the website, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Sickness and viruses are like intruders, and herbs are like warriors. Let the tea work for you. That's GetTheTea.com.
9 out of 10 geneticists agree.
Fade to Black is not your father's radio show on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, The Planet.
Hi, this is Chase Kletsky with Fate Magazine Radio, and you're listening to Jimmy Church and Fade to Black on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station, where the Fadernauts rock.
Hi, this is Rob Reiner from Anvil, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? I'm Chris. What up? This is Kyle Manson. You're listening to Jimmy Church Radio.
And now, coming to you from the No More Fake Newsroom in deep space, which is the space that we suspect to be true, that the world as it is fed to us every single day by the Ministry of Truth is a lie, a false reality, a movie projected on the screen of our subconscious. This, however, is the breakout. All the screens crash. They all go down, and we see the light of day. A new day. No more robots, no more androids. It's the No More Fake Newsroom with Jon Rappoport. Take it away, John.
Thank you, Jimmy. Great to be here. So many things to talk about tonight. I got sidetracked and then sidetracked on the sidetrack, but it's all good. It's all good. I was going to talk to you about the education conspiracy. And in the last hour, I was watching a couple of YouTube videos by John Taylor Gatto, who is a marvel, to say the least. And if you want to get shook up completely about education and the system, just go watch some of his videos, read his books, and so on. So I thought I would pick up a couple of, quote, tidbits, and then all of a sudden, as I was listening and watching him, I just went through a kind of a paradigm shift, shall we say, and so most of my notes are now in the garbage, and I'm just going to talk here. John Taylor Gatto tells the story of David Farragut, who was apparently the first American admiral at sea with ships at the age of 12. Farragut was off of Peru in the sea, responsible for taking a captured British vessel from Peru to Boston. So picture yourself at 12. You are the admiral of this ship. You've got a crew. You're off the coast of Peru, and your job is to get this captured vessel back to Boston. Below decks, you have all the British prisoners, and as Gatto relates, in those days of the gentlemen, warriors, and soldiers, the soldiers were permitted to keep their weapons. So, as Gatto says, below decks you had all the British troops with their weapons, and there was 12-year-old Admiral David Farragut standing on deck, and the captain, the captured British captain, came up with both of his pistols, and he more or less said that I will not be ordered about by a kid. At which point Farragut said, "You have 1 minute to go below decks, or you will be hung and your carcass thrown into the sea." 12 years old. That's 12. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. What does this mean about education? And what does it mean about what's happened to our society? Gatto mentions, and other people have chipped in on this as well, that in some respects, our society is now structured as the endless childhood. It just keeps going on and on. We have no clue about something in that story that I just told you, about how it's possible for a child to so rapidly gain that kind of, what do you call it? Courage, intelligence, worldliness, power. Gatto tells lots of stories about dropouts, people who started their careers pretty much by dropping out of school at an early age and what happened to them. And the whole point here is that the system is completely insane, the educational system. And I'm talking as one who went through it. 12 years of high school, 4 years of college. Took me 5, but dropped out for a year, but I made it through. Some of you, I'm sure, the same. But I'm sure that in this particular audience, Fade to Black, there are many of you out there who have taught yourselves. You never did go to college, or you tasted it for a minute and you got out because you were still unbrainwashed enough to realize that nothing was going to happen that you wanted there. The Prussian system has been installed for a very long time here, which is rigid control, the bells, the tests, the class periods of time, the robotic-like setup of the whole system, meant to turn young children into machines that respond to what they are told. I, the teacher, give you blah, 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 and you give me back blah, 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 blah. That's the deal. That's the way it is. But what these rebels teach us is that, lo and behold, it's possible to learn how to read, navigate, write, become highly educated with barely any instruction in school. Barely any instruction in school. I know that I was beginning to read before I went to school because my mother sat down with me and opened a simple book and we began to go through it. How did we go through it? I don't remember. Was there some rigid system of pronunciation and phonetics and this and that? No. It was sort of trial and error, catch as catch can. Here's a sentence. Do you see how that word is made up of the, and I began to catch on. So I knew how to read something when I started in school. And if I had been denied an education, I'm sure I would have taught myself to read some way, somehow. And so could you, and so could anybody. I'm just sitting here sighing because the whole thing is completely repressive, the whole system. It legislates against the child who has some intense interest in something, whatever it is, it doesn't matter, who wants to pursue something. Gatto tells a story about a kid who dropped out of school because he wanted to play pool, and then it was computer games, and then it was something else, and then, the kid made an enormous success for himself. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. The magnificent obsession is what matters. The thing that you are drawn to that enables you to put your own, quote, system of education together to learn and to explore and discover whatever you want to and to become whatever you want to, that's actual education. That's actual education. And because we see so little of it, we're very suspicious of it. And we say, no, that couldn't possibly, you can't do that. It doesn't work, you see. And then because we're so brainwashed, we think, well, what about all the other kids that can't do that? Well, since when is subjecting all of them to a Prussian military system of education the solution to what we assume is their inability to have some magnificent obsession of their own and follow it up and educate themselves? Why would that be the solution? That's kind of like saying, well, for the 98% of kids who don't have that kind of individuality and unique drive in a certain direction, let's put them all in the Army when they're 8 years old, You see, the whole thing is completely insane, and it was from the beginning, the education system. It really was. And yes, there have been conspiracies all along the way. The Carnegie Foundation, for example, who decided in the very early days of their existence that aside from war, the best way to control the society was through the educational system, and they set about doing that. And one of the big items on their agenda was to eliminate the study of history so that people wouldn't know what happened in the past. Not really. And then there was Thomas Jefferson, who in some ways apparently was the father of the public education system. And his idea was, well, we're living in a new thing called a republic here that has never really been tried before. And so really what we should be educating our kids about is how to be a citizen in a republic. What does that mean? Well, that's kind of like saying, what does freedom mean? What does individuality mean? What does determination mean? What does having a vision of your own future mean? All of these kinds of things. And then Jefferson said, as a kind of aside, if a child wants to learn about something else, specific, technical, whatever, then we have a system of apprenticeship. It's very obvious. You become attached to somebody who is a master of that area and you learn from the ground up. But of course, that has all been rejected, whole hog. But what Gatto is talking about goes even deeper than this. Even deeper. It's really astonishing how deep it goes. The assumption here is that actually in every child there is some kernel of interest early on, whatever it is, you see. And if they're strong enough and they don't buckle under, they will pursue it. And in pursuing it, they will educate themselves and learn whatever it is they need to learn in order to succeed. So if we're about the business of education, we really should be about the business of trying to find out ways so that children do not buckle under, so that we don't load them down with so much that they will buckle under. And of course, compulsory education is one of those things which will produce in the majority a buckling under. Hey, you must do this, and if you don't, there will be severe punishment. If you really wanted to revolutionize this society, and I'm now talking to each one of you in the part of yourself that is you, is a rebel, wants what you want, not in some superficial way, but in some deep way. You could have gotten there from a very early age. So could I, so could everybody. We're living in the machine. The educational system is the machine that says, no, you can't possibly learn what you need to learn through self-education. That's obvious. That's ridiculous. In order to learn these subjects, you have to be thoroughly schooled. And in order to be that, you have to be compulsorized under the Prussian system for at least, whatever it is now, 10 grades. And we should encourage you to go 12 and then college and so forth, and blah, 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 blah. That's the only way, you see. And it's not. It really isn't. What would we individually, all of us I'm talking to now, have become if we had been able to sufficiently rebel at an early age and followed whatever vision we had, whatever obsession, whatever intense curiosity or interest in whatever it was, and had broken through and succeeded? Where would we be now? Hard to say. Really hard to say. You know, I don't know. But we would be someplace very interesting, very good. How many stories have you heard in your lifetime? Let's talk entrepreneur for a second. A kid breaks out of the mold at some early age, 12, 13, 14, starts his own little business. That leads to another business. When he's 18 and he's 21, he's already got a couple of businesses, and it's happening. It's happening. How do you think that occurred? Do you think it was the Prussian military school system that inspired him to do that? That the system was absolutely necessary to liberate him so he could do? No, just the opposite. Just the opposite. And so there's always a tendency to go over to the side of the bad guys here. The planners of society who say, yes, but you see, for the greatest good, for the greatest number, we can't do that because it's just, there's nothing there. It's not a system. It's too unruly. We don't know where things would end up. They would be in chaos. And so in order to impose some kind of uniformity and order, and we have to have this education system. And it's easy to say, yeah, I see what you mean. I think you're right. I think that's what we have to have. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, forget what I was saying before. Yeah. Okay, let's all just, no. What do you think this show is about? Fade to black. It's the fading of the ordinary, the normal, the average, the consensus, the baloney that is manufactured every day by the news media and the government and so forth, and those in power, really. It's that fades to black. And what comes out from behind that is truly that which could stimulate you to be this kind of you that I'm talking about here. the breakout. The rebel who is such a rebel that he invents, discovers, forwards that thing that is his or her magnificent obsession in life. And yes, if that were the case broadly in this country or in the world, we would have a completely different kind of society now. And no, we don't know exactly what it would look like, because it wouldn't look like any particular one unified thing. And that, my friends, would be, by my estimate, very, very good. Very, very good. Well, what about crime? Yeah, what about it? Do you think that we are living in a society that is relatively free of crime because we have a Prussian school system? Do you really think that's the case? We've got crime all over the place. In the street, in the boardroom, in the government. Education system didn't seem to knock that out. So why are you so worried about crime if we don't have a uniform education system? Why? I'll close with this small story of my own, because I used to teach school. And I had big problems all the way along the line until I realized some of the things I'm talking to you about tonight. Just couldn't hack it. It was like daily torture. Anyway, I was tutoring a kid in Los Angeles. And this kid was maybe 14, and he was illiterate, completely illiterate. And I don't know what schools he had been through and so on and so forth. And he seemed to have a kind of a glazed look on his face, and didn't get anywhere with him. Started off with very simple books. Let's start from the beginning. Okay, he said, and let's try to teach you to read and this and that. Did my best. Didn't work out. Did not work out at all. Some years later, I found out that when he was, I don't know, maybe a couple of years after I had last seen him, or 3, he decided that he wanted a career in a technical field. I'm not going to get into extreme specifics, and I'm not, of course, using his name, but it was a technical field. And you would think, well, there's no chance. Kid can't even read. But lo and behold, he went back to school after dropping out. He learned whatever he had to learn. He became capable in this technical field. Not a problem, because all of a sudden he found something he was intensely interested in, to the pretty much the exclusion of everything else. And all of a sudden he woke up. And then he learned whatever he had to learn. It's mind-boggling. This is latent in everybody. If you look at children before they are mashed and squashed. Go back young enough and you'll find it. It's there. The child is interested in this, wants to do that, gets a little older. Instead of 6 things, it's now 2, and then, then it's 1, and then it's boom. Full steam ahead. This system of education from the ground up, from every angle, from the psychology angle, the physical angle of restraint in the classroom, from spiritual angle, emotional, on every level, aesthetic, etc., is a system of mind control, behavior control, operant conditioning, programming. Why in the world we had to have crazy psychologists come along and write books about even more torturous systems that they want to impose on everybody. This one really works. This one really works, the educational system. And the takeaway, if there is, if we need a takeaway from this, is whatever that thing is in you that would dictate swerving off of the superhighway of consensus reality, that is your magnificent, majestic obsession. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? This is what you would call a revolution waiting to happen from the very bottom up. From the very bottom up. And from the bottom, it may look impossible, but it is not, because of what is inside every human being. Thank you, folks. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thank you so much, John. That was inspiring. Thank you so much for that. And, you know, it is an eye-opener, man, the entire education system. And I want to say one of my great desires, if I won the lottery, right, and I had nothing to worry about, I would go back to school because it was so much fun. But now that I know what I know, I would have to build my own, right? I'd have to hire my own staff to teach me. Right. You know what I mean? I would have to design my own curriculum, but I would still do it. If I had the means, you know, Jimmy Church Library, you know, you dedicate a couple of buildings and maybe take over a couple of halls at some college, fill it full of the right staff, and that's what I would do for the rest of my life, man. I would get the education going on. I would hire you for sure. It's a deal. John. Let's go. Get that lottery ticket. Behave and be well, man. Have a great weekend. And next week is Thanksgiving. We've got a lot to talk about. So until then, behave out there, John. Okay, man. You too. Thank you so much. Jon Rappoport, NoMoreFakeNews.com. That's what you need to do every single day. You go and you get your Fade to Black blend. You grind the beans, right? You wake up, you fill up the cup, you bust out the laptop, and you go right there. No more fake news. That's how you start out your day. Jon Rappoport, the very best. Tonight's Thursday. It's Fader Night. 323-825-5045. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
The station that talks the net. KGRA Radio.
Hello, I'm Kat Deely, and you're listening to my main man, Jimmy Church, on jimmychurchradio.com.
Hi, this is Ray Hobbs here, repping the planet, and you're listening to my good friend, Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Game Changer Network and the KGRA digital broadcast station.
I'm getting older and noticing that my body just doesn't work as well as it used to, so I like to keep fit as possible by hitting the gym a few times a week. Recently, I started having a nagging bicep pain, and it got so bad I couldn't even lift the weights. When I was complaining about it to a friend, he told me about angioprim. He said chelation helps remove toxins, heavy metals, and cholesterol in veins and arteries that may cause blockages. You know, after just 1 week of taking angioprim, the pain was gone, and now I'm back in the gym full strength. Scientific research proves the active ingredient in angioprim has superior oral chelation action that helps promote cardiovascular health. So to learn more, go to angioprim.com. That's ANGIOPRIM.com. Or talk to a trained consultant. Call Angioprim toll-free at 877-882-7221. You'll feel better with more energy. Call 877-882-7221 or go to the website angioprim.com.
This is Toby Kebbell. You're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com. Don't hurt me, Jimmy. I'm only little.
Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier, and this is Ari Gold. We're the Honey Brothers. Well, yes. We are of the Honey Brothers. Hey, I'm Adrian Grenier.
And I'm Ari Gold.
We're the Honey Brothers.
And you're listening to Jimmy Church.
The Revolution.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to JimmyChurchRadio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Tepe.
This is Micah Hanks of the Gralien Report, and you're listening to Jimmy Church on Fade to Black, across the globe on the Game Changer Radio Network and the one and only KGRA Radio, The Planet.
Welcome back. Fade to Black. It's Thursday night. It is Fader night. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Open lines all night long. 323-825-5045. Yeah, they're backed up. I see everybody, but you're going to have to stay right there. Do you remember, follow me on Twitter right now, at JChurchRadio. You're going to want to do this because... at JChurchRadio. Hashtag F2B is the sandbox, and we don't bite. Come over and hang out with us. But do you remember last week I took a call and and his name was DJ, and he had said that back in 1969 when he was a young man, he was riding his bike. He had a Schwinn Stingray, like we all did back then. And went to go put his bike on a bike rack, looked up, and there was a guy just appeared that said he was a time traveler and gave him a $1 bill, traded him a $1 bill. And the $1 bill that he had got was from the year 2020. And he took it and buried it. Well, back with us on the show is DJ. DJ, are you there?
Hi, Jamie. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Excellent.
Okay.
How's Rita?
Rita's good. She's down the hall, locked in her studio. I'm not allowed to bother her anymore during the commercial breaks. I used to walk in there, and now apparently the door is locked. So that's the message I've gotten from down the hall. So
I had a couple of quick comments, and then I got a real short story for you. And then I'll get on with the time capsule.
Okay.
Okay, and the first comment, Jimmy, I'm going to take you back to 1975. And I saw a concert that had 2 bands. It was Nazareth and UFO.
Right.
Okay, my first comment, and this is a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Where did Nazareth get its name from?
Nazareth, Pennsylvania.
Okay. And there's also another part. They actually got it from the band, and the song was called The Waits.
Uh-huh.
And one of the verses starts out, it goes, I pulled into Nazareth,
right,
feeling about half past dead.
Right.
Okay. And that's trivia. That is a Fader fact.
Yeah. It's Nazareth.
Second comment.
Nazareth was one of my favorite bands. I've seen them probably 3, 4, 5 times in concert.
Wow, I only seen them once, but I had about 6 of their albums. And then the second comment is on the band UFO.
What about them?
And they were there also. Okay. and I know you know this one too. What guitarist that was really famous was with UFO in 1975 at this concert I saw?
In 1975, that would have been, man. Well, I don't know if Michael Schenker was in the band yet.
Yes, he was.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Okay. Yeah. You got to get up. You got to get up early in the morning if you're going to try to stump me on rock and roll trivia, man. It's
that was a good one.
Man, I got a Michael Schenker story for you though.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'll share this. I don't know if I've ever told this story on the air, but back in Hollywood, would have been 1990, and I had a neighbor. Her name was Rhonda, and she lived downstairs, and she was a friend of somebody that I knew, and Rhonda was in the music business. And one day I'm downstairs in the manager's office on the first floor, which was right inside the front door, and you could see the mailboxes through the glass doors, right, which were right outside. So I'm sitting in there, and I see this guy come up with a letter in his hand, and he's trying to put it in a mailbox, right? And he looks through the glass door, and I turn, and my apartment manager guy, he was gay, really cool dude, but was obviously not in the rock and roll game. But anyway, so I turn, I go, holy crap, it's Michael Schenker. And the apartment manager goes, who's that? I go, what? And I jump up, and I go, and I unlock the door, and I go, what's up? And he goes, I need to deliver this letter. And I go, Michael Schenker. Yes, it's good to meet you. And I go, dude, what's up? And he hands me the letter, and it's to Rhonda, right? Wow. And I was like, what? Rhonda. And he goes, do you know her? I go, yeah, I'll give it to her personally. And then he turns around and walks away. Well, so I go upstairs, and I call Rhonda, and I get her voicemail, and then she calls me later. I go, Michael Schenker. Yeah, so what about him? I said, you didn't tell me, yeah, we've been kind of, I was like, what? Cool. And I go, he gave me this letter. And she goes, oh, okay, all right. So she comes down and gets the letter. And I said, I want to meet him. I want to hang out. She goes, he'll be here tonight. I said, really? She goes, yeah, can I borrow your vacuum cleaner? And I said, yes. She goes, okay, so tonight I'm going to go vacuum my apartment, but I will call you later, and you can come up and pick up the vacuum cleaner. And I said, okay, cool, that's the plan. So now I'm on pins and needles, right? I'm on pins and needles. And I'm waiting all day. And then it's like 7 o'clock that night, phone rings. Jimmy, it's Rhonda. I said, hey. She goes, you want to come get your vacuum cleaner? I go, I'm there. Boom, hang up. And I run up, get on the elevator, go up. I thought she lived downstairs, upstairs. I can't remember. So I go, no, we were on the second floor. She was on the fourth. So I go up and knock on the door. She opens the door. She's got the vacuum cleaner in her hand, right? I was like, what's going on? And she opens up the door, and there he is. He's sitting on the floor against the couch watching TV. And she goes, come on in. And so I go in, and I go up, and he goes, hey, man, it's good to meet you. And we sat. I sat with Michael for about 2 hours and sat and I can't get into any more details. But anyway, that's my Michael Schenker story, and I'm sticking to it. If he ever listens to this, he will know exactly the evening and the moment that was all about. So there you go. That's my Michael Schenker story. Okay, so moving on.
There you go. He had a German accent, right?
Heavy, cool dude though.
Yeah, see, because that's
little
my
guy.
last name is German, so I mean, I was really into all the.
He wasn't as big. He wasn't as big. I thought he was taller, but anyway, really cool dude. Okay, so you went to go find this time capsule, and you found it.
Yeah, it was kind of funny though, Jimmy, because the place where I buried it to was my grade school, and it was called McKinley, because all the grade schools in my hometown were named after presidents. And where I buried it, the swing set and the slide were gone, but the houses were still there. And I remember, about where that slide and swing set was, because I buried it between them. And I remember looking at this house. It was gray. And I think I measured off like 12 paces from the sidewalk was still there, obviously. So I just measured off 12 paces and started digging. I mean, I was pretty close. I think I found it. I had to go over maybe 2 or 3 inches, and I found it. But I'll tell you, if you ever want to bury anything, Jimmy, this thing was, I remember I got into my mom's saran wrap. I mean, I used the whole roll on this box. So, I mean, it was probably 6, 7 inches thick of saran wrap.
So what, okay, was the dollar bill there?
Well, that's the sad part. It was, it said Series 2013 on it.
What does that mean?
Well, I mean, but see, it's 2016. I got $3 in my wallet, Jimmy, and all 3 of them are 2013 issues. It says Series 2013. So what I'm thinking is maybe, and this is a possibility because I don't know, that this time traveler guy, maybe he was from 2018, maybe he was from 2019, but that was the dollar that he was using was a Series 2013,
Right. You thought it was a 2020. Okay.
Well, yeah, but see,
But so now it's a 2013 dollar. When did you bury it?
Yeah. But I mean, that's still pretty phenomenal. I mean, from 1969 to 2013, that's a long time.
Well, but there's no way now for you to say to anybody, right?
But what I'm saying is, he could have, in 2018 or 2020, either one. I don't know what year he was from because he really didn't say. I was just guessing on the bill because I don't remember that much about it. I just put it in my billfold and buried it later. But
right.
What I'm saying is, he could have used that 2013 issue just like what we are today.
Did you, was there anything else in this box? Did you videotape yourself unwrapping this box? Was there anything else in this box from when did you bury it? What year?
It was just right after that. It was probably like 2 weeks later.
So you buried it in 1969. What else was in the box?
There was a rat fink. You remember rat finks?
Yep, of course.
Okay. And there was a 0M toy. It was the pocket shot. It was the knife. It came out in 1965. There was a Batman card from 1966. There was I played boys baseball, Little League, when I was little, and this would have been when I was 9, so it was 67. McKinley Elks was the name of my team, and I think we won second place. So there was a picture of the whole team that I cut out of the newspaper, so it was in there too. And then a whistle.
Wow.
I think it was a kid's whistle.
Why didn't you go back in 2010 and dig up that box?
Because I didn't think of it. Probably your show wasn't on.
Yeah. What a drag. Did you videotape yourself unwrapping the box or anything?
No.
You didn't document anything? Okay. Wow. Well, that's a drag. I mean, it would have been cool. I mean, it's still a 2013 bill from 1969, but you don't have any way to prove it. That's a drag.
Yeah. See, that's just. I mean, this time traveler really never did say what year he was from, so I was just guessing. So
right.
It could have been 2018, could have been 2017, could have been 2016.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, but
right. Well, oh man. Well, I don't know what to do now.
No road trip for you and Rita.
I wish you would have gotten his name. That would have been really cool. Do you remember that, by the way? Do you remember his name? Did he say anything like that?
Actually, Jimmy, what I wanted to tell you was, you remember Phil Schneider, right?
Uh-huh.
Did you ever see any of his lectures?
I've seen them all.
Well, I mean, did you ever see any of them in person?
No, I never saw him in person.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
He died a while ago.
Okay. In 1995, I got to see Phil, because I didn't even know what it was, because the hotel I was staying at, there was a lobby card that said Phil Schneider tonight, like at 6:30 or 7, and it said like $20 or 15 or $20.
Yeah, I need you to speak up a little. I need you to speak up a little bit,
okay,
DJ.
Sorry. So I went to it, and there was quite a bit of people there, Jimmy. There's probably 80 or 85 people there, and it lasted about 2 hours. And if you knew Phil, he was talking about his structural engineer and his really high security clearance, and then he had a whole bunch of he had like a glass case filled with different objects and stuff over the years. And he talked about his firefight with the aliens, I think it was the Greys at Dulce and everything. And I mean, it was really interesting. I mean, I was like just glued on this guy for like 2 hours. And then after the show, everybody kind of went up to him, and was talking. And I happened to recognize this guy. I just kind of looked around, and he had this T-shirt on, and it said, "We faked it." So, So I walked up to him. I go, "I presume you're talking about the Apollo 11 mission?"
Right.
He goes, "Yeah." And I asked him. I said, "What do you know about it?" His response floored me. He said that he was actually a lighting instructor for Stanley Kubrick, and he said, and this is honest to God's truth, Jimmy. He said that they shot that fake moon landing near Area 51 in the Nevada desert, like right before then. So.
Who said this? Who was his lighting director? Are you saying Phil said he was his lighting director?
No. It was,
okay.
This guy was at Phil's show.
Oh, this guy was at Phil's show, and he said he was Kubrick's lighting director, and they shot it in 1969. Well, it would have had to have been 68 before they did but he was in the middle of doing 2001 at that time. I mean, I could. Well, okay. I mean, I could see it if they shot it on a sound stage in England when they were shooting 2001.
That's a possibility too. I've heard that also. But he said that so maybe it was like they shot parts of it in England and then they shot parts of it in Nevada.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's possible. I have a lot of issues with all of that footage, and my biggest concern with the footage is well, I mean, there's lots of little things: the lighting, the direction, the artificial light, the way things that were lit up, in the shadows and things. Okay, I get all of that, but for me, the actual live footage that we saw on our TV was not the live feed. It was a camera that was pointed at the large screen projection at NASA. At Mission Control, so it was a second.
Is that why it was so grainy, Jimmy?
Yep, that's exactly right. So I have issues with that. Why they would do that, instead of giving us the live feed.
Weird.
Yeah, it's pretty trippy. Well,
so
DJ,
what I was going to comment on real quick, Jimmy, I've seen a lot of those documentaries. All those NASA hoax stories. And this guy's been a guest on your show like twice. I'll tell you, Jay Widener. Is I think it's Room 227 video on YouTube. Kubrick, when he made The Shining, he left a lot of Apollo 11 clues in that movie.
Yeah, he did. And you go back and watch Jay Widener's documentaries, and then go back and watch The Shining. It's difficult to get through The Shining because you see all of these clues that Jay points out. So, and I've always found that interesting. I always have, and Jay's one of the brightest guys that I know. So
he is.
I want to thank you, DJ, for going out there and digging that up for us and trying to get to the bottom. And
sorry about that.
No,
are you going to have a show next Thursday on Thanksgiving?
No.
Okay,
we're taking Thursday off.
That's cool.
Okay.
What I'll do is I got a UFO story when I was working on the railroad. I'll just call back in like 2 weeks in.
Okay, you got it, DJ. Thank you so much, man.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Jimmy. Have a good one.
Yeah, thanks for the road trip.
Bye.
All right. 323. Sorry about that, DJ. Went all the way out there. It wasn't a bill from 2020. It was 2013. Could have been a 2017 bill. That would have been cool. But 2013. You know, it's just a drag. But thank you for the effort, definitely. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. It's Thursday night. It is Fader night. Open lines all night long. Now, posted a bunch of stuff today over on our Facebook radio page, and the images are there. And I want to go through a couple of these things really quick. All right, and one of them is it's pretty wild. There's a building in New York City. It's a skyscraper, and it's built to endure a nuclear attack, and it is known as the AT&T Long Lines Building. It's actually among the most essential assets of the NSA, which runs mass surveillance programs inside of this windowless tower. Now, this thing is gnarly. It's a brutalist structure. It's located at 33 Thomas Street in Lower Manhattan. It's 29 floors, 3 underground levels. It was built between 1969 and 1974 by John Carl Warnke and Associates. And it was simply referred to as Project X during the planning phase. Now, it's 550 feet tall. It was purportedly designed to house enough food and supplies to sustain a self-contained city of 1,500 people for 2 weeks in case of the worst-case scenario of a Cold War nuclear attack. Aside from accommodating powerful computers, cables, and switchboards, and handling long-distance phone calls, including international, the AT&T Telecommunications Center doubles as a wiretapping facility that targets calls, faxes, and internet traffic. The Long Lines building is still shown as being owned by AT&T by New York's Department of Finance. The NSA refers to the skyscraper as Titan Point. Remember that. And this is according to documents leaked by Edward Snowden. A key NSA program called Blarney is allegedly run out of a secret location inside of the building that taps into communications of the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and at least 38 countries, including all of the allies such as Germany, Japan, and France. And this is according to the NSA's own report. Among the leaked NSA documents are 2 guides, one from April 2011 on the Blarney program and another from February 2013. The former reveals that Titan Point exists in New York City, and the latter refers to a partner named Lithium, which is what the NSA calls AT&T. The 2011 document also points employees to the FBI's New York field office, which is just next door. Yes, both AT&T and the FBI coordinated NSA agent visits to the facility. Further evidence from the NSA documenting that Titan Point is, in fact, the 33 Thomas Street building includes instructions for visitors to buzz in, sign in, and meet an escort. Well, there is a buzzer outside of the building. There's a sign-in sheet at the lobby desk, and around-the-clock guard. There are also AWM parking spaces, my friends, reserved for federal agents right in front of the building. Now, former AT&T engineer Thomas Saunders says that there are at least 4 ESS switches, 4 ESS switches, 4S, for routing phone calls across various networks inside of the building. One of the first 2, one handles domestic long-distance traffic, and the other is for an international gateway. That aligns with all of the NSA documents that describe Titan Point as having foreign gateway switches with RIMROC access. RIMROC is the NSA code for 4S switches. Another spying program reportedly operating from the building called Skid Row allegedly focuses on covertly vacuuming up all of your internet data. However, an AT&T spokesperson denies that government agencies have direct access to their networks. Of course they do. This is Fade to Black. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. If you're on hold, stay right there. You'll be first up after the break. Tonight's Thursday. It's Fader Night. 323-825-5045 on the Game Changer Network and KGRA The Planet. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll be right back.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church.
You're listening to Fade to Black.
Always on the edge of the hottest alternative talk. Jimmy Church with Fade to Black. KGRARadio.com.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carson, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
How you doing? This is Jimmy from Zeepa, and I want to talk to you a little bit about Black Friday and Cyber Monday. All you people that like to procrastinate, the people that like to go ahead on Black Friday the night before and they camp out waiting for that great deal. Well, hello, newsflash, the deal for Zeepa is now. The deal for Zeepa is today. We do not reward procrastination. If you want a great price on a Zeepa, go to Zeepa.com and buy now. If you're going to go ahead and procrastinate, we're going to penalize you for it. What does that mean? That means the price of all the Zeepas go up on Black Friday. And you know what happens on Cyber Monday? It goes up again. This is the last opportunity that you will have to get this great price for the Zeepa. This is the time now. You wait till Black Friday, the price is going up. Because remember, sleep is priceless. Go to Zeepa.com, that's ZYPPAH.com, and get the deal now.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Work with your doctor when taking medications. Make Protovite part of your healthy lifestyle.
HealthForLiberty.com is your source for Protovite, a powerful nutritional supplement that's a true breakthrough for your health. Poor digestion makes it nearly impossible to absorb the nutrition your body needs. Protovite is a liquid multi-nutrient formula with patent-pending absorption technology and the highest quality ingredients to nourish every cell in your body.
My name is Sandra White. 6 weeks ago, when I started taking Protovite, I was on 14 medications, from everything for blood pressure to fibromyalgia. In the first 10 days, my blood sugar dropped 50 points, and my fibromyalgia pain is gone. And so was 12 of the 14 medications that I was taking. I'm 66, living life and loving it.
Go to healthforliberty.com right now. That's healthforliberty.com.
Thank you, Protovite, for giving my life back.
You are listening to Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Network.
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
All right, welcome back. Fade to Black, Thursday night, Fader Night. 323-825-5045. Open lines all night long. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Who's calling?
Hi, Jimmy. It's Destiny.
Hi, Destiny. How are you?
Well, you know what? I'm doing great, which is unbelievable considering how my life's like a roller coaster, up and down and up and down. But it's good, you know.
So what's on your mind tonight, Destiny?
Okay, what's on my mind is, first of all, hey to you and Rita and all the FADERNIGHTs out there listening. And I just want to say, you know, John is always so right on. And so are you. But I want to say, as far as education goes and the public school system, I have great hope that it's going to do a complete turnaround. And I'm basing that on my daughter, who's a teacher in North Carolina.
Right. Okay.
And she's a great teacher. She's like my mini me, except she's taller than me, except she likes flats and I like hills. So it all works out, you know. But, yeah, I mean, she has great students, and she loves teaching. And her students are aware, and they're listening, and they're doing things to help students that learn in different ways.
Right.
And I'm so totally impressed because I was a daycare teacher. I loved working with children younger, but she loves working with the middle schoolers. And, you know, as far as I'm concerned, they're doing, at least in North Carolina. In Tennessee, they could use some improvement, but they're getting there slowly. And so I feel good about where things are going. But, you know, it's like I always tell my husband, that's another story. But anyway, you know, sometimes things have got to they're going to be worse before they can get better.
Yeah, we got to hit bottom. And I hate to hit bottom. I hate to hit bottom with our kids, you know, but
I know.
But we're right there. I mean, there's no doubt about it that we went through probably 2 generations worth of kids here that now, and I'm going to say this, there's one thing that's been bothering me, and it started about 10 years ago, but when I started to see this, but like today with these protests that are going on, and I am so inflamed with this, and it's our fault. It's our fault because we raised our kids. We would give them trophies for losing, right? Not for winning. Yes. Everybody's a winner, you know, and not just not teaching them about life and that you need to go to school to get an education to go and get a job.
I know.
And kids today, this is what really is that they just feel so entitled that they don't realize that their parents worked for 30 years to get where they are. They expect to just go to college and come out and be where their parents are right now, that they don't want to go and work for 30 years. You mean I got to go to work? I got to go and work?
It's the worst. It just floors me too, because, you know, it's not the right way, and I know you and I have lived long enough to realize that.
You know, a safe room,
you know,
so
my
you can.
My parents worked hard, and you know, I went through things that were tough, but I got through it, and I didn't whine about it, and I didn't get, you know, all depressed about it, because that's just the way it was back then. And now they're so privileged that I feel they take it for granted.
They do. They take life. They take life completely for granted. And like I was getting ready to say, a safe room because you're bummed out and you want to go and cry. You know, you're in college and you want to waste my money with that. You need a place to go and be bummed out. Go to class and learn something. Right?
Yeah.
And
go back to kindergarten.
I'll bet you a dime to a dollar, Destiny. I'll bet you a dime to a dollar right now that 99% of the kids protesting out there right now didn't even vote. Right? So, you know what? Save all of that crap. You're in college, costing a lot of money, and you want to just go out and do this and cry. It's called an election. You know, that's it.
I don't honestly see how their parents can, you know, just stand by and watch their children do that. I mean, I would be in there, and I know that sounds cruel, but I also believe in tough love.
Oh, if it was, hey, Destiny, I want to thank you for the phone call. Let me get to these other phone calls, but thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome.
And you're
thank you.
And you are absolutely right. Thank you so much, Destiny. I want to say this: I have two girls in college right now, Rita and I, and but if I was if I saw something like that going on my dollar, and I'm spending $50,000-$60,000 for you to go to college, and you want to cry over this, and you want to be bummed out, you need to get your butt back into class and quit crying. Okay, I need return on my investment, and you need to get out and get a job. You mean I gotta go to work? I want to get out of college and make $100,000 a year. You need to go and work up to that point and get raises. That's what you need to do. Man, that's the problem with this country today, I swear. And it's our mistake. It's us. We have to blame ourselves for doing this. Time out. You're going to be in a timeout. A timeout? Man, there was no timeouts when I was growing up. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're live.
Jimmy.
Yes.
You are right in saying that work is a very important thing.
Yes, I hope so. I mean, you got to eat.
Well, does not a plant work as it strives up to the air? I mean, all things work.
They have to. They have to, and they struggle. They struggle, you know?
They do.
And
yes.
and I don't know where this thing started. That this whole thing about being entitled and entitlements and I just don't know where all of that started, because look, I don't want to sound like my parents. I don't want to sound like my grandparents, but I'm going to tell you the truth, man. I'm 53. When I was 15 years old, I come back from Panama for summer vacation. Right? 3 months, my sophomore year in high school. And I come back, I'm 15 years old. And what do you do on a summer vacation when you're 15? You go out, you have fun, you smoke weed with your friends, you go listen to Foghat records and drink beer all summer long. That's what you do, go to keggers. Not me. I came back, those 3 months, I worked in a frigging McDonald's. And I worked in that McDonald's 8 to 10 hours a day, saved up my money so I could buy a guitar that I took back to Panama. That was my summer vacation. I wore a McDonald's monkey suit, right? And kids today, I mean, they don't want to go work at a McDonald's. You know, they don't. No, what do you mean minimum wage? Dude, you're 15 years old. Go to work. You know, and that's it. It's just really, really funny to me how this entire entitlement thing is just turned around, and it's just the expectations and the things that they think. Going to school in this country is not a right; it's a privilege. That's it. It's a privilege. Don't take that stuff for granted. And because your parents are paying for school, you know, that's not a right that you are given. That is a privilege, you know, and you go and you get it. David Icke did his big speech on this, and what is being taught and what ends up happening in the real world are two different things, right? And it scares the crap out of me. So we do need to fix this broken system, but we need to start with what we're teaching our kids and how we're teaching them and how we're raising them. And that's really it. You know, you go and you see these shows like the Kardashians or Jersey Shore, and kids today think that that's reality, right? All they've got to do is go and get on The Voice, and it's nuts. Anyway, you called me. Okay, sorry for my rant.
It's all good, my beloved truth seeker. I hear everything coming out of you, and you're right. And you set an example for the young of, hey, get out there and bust your ass. I was working at a KFC. I mean, for goodness sake, when I was 19, and at Taco Bell back in another city, another place.
Right. I did it, man. I did it, man. I did years in McDonald's, man. Well, maybe 3.
Well,
I can flip a burger today. You should see me with a spatula. Bam! I can flip a burger like nobody's business. Ask Rita. Kajish, kajish, kajish. Man, alive. Oh.
I have no doubt, or I would not listen to your show, which I get so much enjoyment from.
Well, I the one thing is that I appreciate the position that Rita and I are in today. I totally appreciate it. It's totally humbling, but nothing is free. And this show is tough, but we did radio before this show too as well, and we kept our foot on the gas. We never gave up. And this show now is 3-4 years old. It's hard to believe that we're 500. Today is 559 shows. 559. And then add another, 100 coast-to-coast shows in there. And you start to look at and you think of all the History Channel stuff and the amount of work that we have put in. It's crazy. But you know what? Nothing is free, right? Nothing is free.
Whoa,
Nothing.
Hold on. It's like, for me, it's free. I'm getting, I dropped poor George Norrie, and after years of dedicated listenership, I went Fade to Black.
Well, I could.
And you guys are like, you were carrying out a smaller fringe of the mystery.
I can appreciate that.
Probably don't even consciously know it, but it's like you're.
Well, I can appreciate that. The thing is with George, he hasn't lost any listen. His listener base has grown, and he has got.
No, I know.
You know what I mean? He's got his dedicated people. He's got his style. He's got the way that he does things.
Don't get me wrong. I love George. He's a huge part of my personal being.
Yeah, sure. As is a lot of people out there. When I go and do events with him, and I walk in, and you see the rooms full of people and the way that he does things and handles it, and the crowds, then you kind of pick up on the vibe. The dude has a very, very, very solid dedicated fan base. But he's got his own style.
And well-deserved.
Well-deserved. He's been doing it now 13, 14, 15 years, man, on the air. And if you look, and if you consider... that's right. And when you look at other of the big guys out there like George, like, Hannity or Rush Limbaugh or Dr. Whoever, any of these, these big names that are out there. The Blaze. What's his name? The Blaze. And you look at listen, and this is the thing, Michael Savage. You look at all of them, and you may not listen to them, you may not like them, but they all have their dedicated fan base, right? And that's what George has done, and the only way that you get that done is you keep your foot on the gas, and you don't give up, and you keep going, and you keep going. That's it. That's the only way. That's the only way to do it. So.
Hey, and in that spirit, I'm going to say your fan base is well served to be dedicated to F2B. I love you guys, and I'm going to tell you good night. Goodbye.
Thank you so much, man. That's what I'm talking about right there. He gets it. Absolutely. A sweeping new surveillance regime is set to become UK law before the end of the year. Now, listen to this. The investigatory powers bill passed yesterday in the House of Lords. Now, get this, and I need you to listen. The legislation is dubbed the Snoopers Charter. It creates a legal framework authorizing the government to hack into devices, networks, and the services that are out there in bulk. The law will allow for large databases of personal information on UK citizens to be maintained. It requires internet, phone, and communication app companies to store records for 12 months and allow authorities to access them on demand. That data could be anything from internet search history, calls made, or messages sent. Security agencies will also be able to force companies to decrypt data, effectively placing limits on the use of end-to-end encryption. For the bill to become law, it still requires royal assent, which is essentially a formality. Once this is done, the UK will have one of the most wide-ranging, all-encompassing, and privacy-invading mass surveillance programs in the world. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Good evening, Mr. Jimmy Church.
What are you doing?
Well, I'm enjoying my wonderful evening listening to the FADERNIGHT, Jim.
That's what I'm talking about, Steve. Did you get your Fade to Black blend yet?
Not yet.
Okay,
I'm not much of a coffee drinker.
You will be after this stuff, Steve. You're gonna send your wife to Walmart. She's gonna get a coffee grinder, and it's gonna be over.
Now she tears it up. She loves coffee. She is a hardcore coffee drinker.
See, that's what I'm talking about, man. Get her a gift. Get her the gift of love. Fade to Black blend. Nothing says love more than a coffee bean.
That's right.
All right.
That's right.
What's on your mind, Steve?
Well, I have something crazy to tell you guys that happened Monday evening. Coming home from work, now the time has changed, so it gets dark quite a bit earlier now, and my driveway is quite long to the house, and this time of year it's hunting season here, and I have a lot of deer on my property, so I have to kind of take it slow going up the driveway because they have a tendency to try to run right into the side of my truck or try to jump over my hood of my truck or it's crazy. But anyway, it was Monday was beautiful here. Weather was the last week has just been unseasonably warm for here. Just beautiful weather. But I have these fence posts that are part of my property markers, and these two blue jays have been flying around the house and landing on these two fence posts at the top of these fence posts. And these fence posts they're 8 foot tall, and these two blue jays would just fly around and chase each other around and land on top of this fence post. Well, I'm driving home from work, and it's dark, and I'm being slow, and I just happened to notice that one of those blue jays was sitting on top of this fence post. My lights just caught it right with the high beams, because I'm watching for deer, and I see that blue jay sitting on top of that post, and I'm not going maybe 5 miles an hour, not even that, and I'm getting almost beside this fence post with this blue jay, and it's completely dark by now. And Jimmy, this owl comes flying out of nowhere and hammers this blue jay.
What?
Right on top of this fence post, Jimmy.
Wow.
And just pins this blue jay down on top of this fence post and kills the blue jay. And I stopped my truck right there, and I'm not 5 feet from this owl, and I roll my window down, and I have a small flashlight in my truck, and I pull it out of the glove box real quick and shine it over at this owl. And I'm literally not 5 to 7 feet from this owl on top of this fence post, and this blue jay is still trying to flap its wings, and this owl has just got it pinned down on top of this fence post. And I shine the light on it, and it is a big owl. This owl probably weighed, probably close to like maybe 7 or 8 pounds.
Right, right.
Pretty good size, owl. I don't know how big owls actually get, but I thought it was a fairly large owl. And the blue jay's kind of flapping its wings and everything, and this owl just, with one swift stroke of its beak, just hammers this owl, and it's over. It was just done. Kills the blue jay. Instant. There was the end of the flapping of this blue jay, and it sits on top of this fence post with me shining the light at it, and starts dismantling this blue jay on top of this fence post.
Wow.
And I watch it for a good, 10 minutes, probably around 10 minutes, and then it finally flies off with the, I guess it got sick and tired of watching me. Or, I don't know if it had little ones that it was going to take it back to a nest, or, I don't know, how owls breed or whatever, but then it finally flew off with the blue jay. But the craziest thing I've seen, as far as I wasn't even in the woods. I'm an avid hunter, but I'd never seen anything like that.
Yeah, that's traumatizing. And the owl didn't care. You were right there, and he was like, whatever.
And didn't care. Like, hey, this is my dinner.
I guess
it was just out of nowhere, Jimmy.
Yeah,
I wasn't paying any attention to. I'm checking this, this blue jay out, and it's pitch dark, and just I see it's kind of a whitish gray flash, and the owl is instantly on top of this blue jay, and pins him straight down.
It makes you wonder how long the owl was checking out the scene.
Checking out that, was watching that blue jay. And, I didn't know that owls attacked other birds. I thought they got, like squirrels and chipmunks and, stuff like that. I didn't know that they went after other
Maybe that blue jay was a gangster, right? maybe the blue jay was doing stuff, and the owl was just like, you know what, that's enough. I don't know. I've never heard of that, man.
Trippy. Me neither. Never. I wish I had a good camera or whatever, and would have been able to have because I don't have an iPhone. I just have this little small 1983 flip phone.
Right. You got that Walmart special, huh? I hear they're coming back. Yeah. If you hang on to it long enough, you're going to be back in vogue.
Yeah. I don't get on the internet with my phone, or I just need it for business to text and to place and receive phone calls. That's it. That's all I use it for.
I want to ask.
I don't need no iPhone.
Yeah, let me ask the Fade to Black audience here. Have you guys ever heard of an owl attacking a blue jay? I could see maybe, an owl attacking maybe a crow. I don't know, but a blue jay, a harmless little blue jay, a robin redbreast, a sparrow, which it does seem kind of weird to me. You would think that they They hang with their own. You know, it's them against everybody else.
But it was making, it was, started plucking the feathers off the
oh, dude.
It looked like the breast part of the blue jay.
And stop. I'll tell you, I remember a couple of years ago, I told the story on the air, but I walk out of our house. I walk out in the backyard, and I was alone. And I walk out in the backyard, and I see this red and white thing in the middle of our yard. And I look down, and it is a big white, snow white bird. Big, man, like a chicken big, right? Like a big bird with big wings, whatever kind. But anyway, completely, it looked like it exploded. That's the best way I can put it. There were hundreds of feathers all over our yard, all over the place. And the bird is right there, and I looked down, and his chest, and there was meat parts, just like it exploded. I thought this is what it looked like to me. It looked like it got shot with a shotgun in the air and then landed in our yard. That's what it looked like. It was crazy. I was traumatized, man. So I had to go, and not only I had to clean it up, but I had to go and pick all of these feathers out of the yard. And our dogs wouldn't go outside either. That was the other thing. The dogs stayed in the house while I did this, which was kind of strange. I thought I was going to have to, keep my dogs out of the mess, but they did not. And I had to, man, it was, and I still. But
the bird just out of nowhere, it just blows up.
What I'm telling you is what I saw. Exactly what I saw. I cannot. I stood there.
I wonder if, Jimmy, back I got when I was younger and at the beach on a beach trip, I saw these younger kids that would feed. I think it was like Alka-Seltzer or something else to seagulls. And these seagulls would
because they don't burp. Right.
Kills, and they would pop.
Right.
They would fly off, and then something. I guess the Alka-Seltzer would expand in their stomach, and it would kill the.
Right. Yeah, that's not cool.
Seagulls.
Right, that's not cool.
No, I was very unhappy with that. There was a quite tense moment over that when I was, because my daughter was just young when that was going on, and I wasn't happy.
Oh, man. Hey, Steve, I'm at the top of the hour, man. Thank you for calling in and sharing that with us. That's a crazy story, man. That's a great. You never disappoint, Steve. Ever.
Hey, it's always Jimmy, brother. Thanks for the time.
Thank you, Steve. Steve from Bluefield. This is Fade to Black, 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. I'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. This is Rob Halford, the Metal God, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
KGRA Radio. Intelligent talk.
Did you know 40% of all cancer could be prevented? That's a fact. Along with maintaining appropriate body weight and regular exercise, the American Institute for Cancer Research and the USDA confirm that eating 9 to 11 servings of fruits and vegetables every day is the key. Now ask yourself, am I at risk? How many servings of fruits and vegetables did I eat today? Balance of Nature has solved this problem and provides an easy and affordable way to consume over 10 servings of 31 different whole fruits and vegetables every day.
Call now to find out how to get your free month's supply of Balance of Nature. Call 800-2468-751. That's 800-2468-751. Call now, 800-2468-751. Or go online to balanceofnature.com.
Use promo code TSL.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store. So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on the smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
If your home has hard water, then it's likely that limescale is clogging your pipes, damaging your appliances, costing you hundreds of dollars each year. You can eliminate limescale in the entire house with HydroCare products available at Wave Home Solutions. Easy and efficient with no maintenance, no salts, no chemicals, and no coils. And you can buy with confidence from Wave Home Solutions. Performance guaranteed. Just go to bestwater411.com. That's bestwater411.com.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of Fade to Black by just calling 605-562-4482. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Just call 605-562-4482. You can listen to me, Jimmy Church, on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Go Beckley Tappy.
You want to know a secret? I love ponies. I really love ponies. I'm serious. I couldn't stay sane without ponies to brush.
Why Fade to Black? Because you never got that pony, damn it.
This is Fade to Black with Jimmy Church on the Game Changer Radio Network and KGRA, the Global Radio Alliance.
Welcome back, Fade to Black. Thursday night, Fader night. If you're on hold, stay right there. I'll get to everybody. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, 323-825-5045. So, tonight's Thursday, right? Taking calls all night long, hanging out with all of you, right? And then tomorrow's Friday. Tomorrow night, I'm on Coast. But guess what I get to do tomorrow all day long? I get to clean the garage. So put that in your brain for a second. Church is going to be boxing up, cleaning, throwing away, sweeping, and cleaning the garage, and then over to Coast. So that's my day tomorrow. So when you hear me on Coast tomorrow night, I need you to think about what I did all day long. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hey, Jimmy. Dennis.
Hey, Dennis, how are you?
Yeah. Oh, great, man. Just living the dream.
Yeah, what's cracking, man? What's on your mind tonight, Dennis?
Well, I caught a delayed recording of your show from last night with Ronnie LeBlanc.
Right.
And about midway through, when you questioned him about his UFO experiences, it just really blew my mind. When he started talking about what he had seen in a few years ago, because just recently, October 26th, I was sitting on my front porch with a friend late at night and looked up and I saw this object. It was like a boomerang shaped object,
right,
gliding across the sky, right across the top of us, and it was exactly the way he had described it. And it wasn't lit up, and, of course it was not, but I could see, the blackness of it.
Right.
The shape. I could see the edge of it, which at first I thought geese, but, then it's 11:30 at night, and they're not honking. So
right.
I don't know if geese at nighttime or not. But,
right.
And I tweeted about it on the sandbox that night, and also I sent an email to Race Hobbs about it.
Oh, okay.
And so it just blew my mind because the way he described it was exactly the way I described it that night. And I said, well, this thing is really getting around when I listened to the broadcast this morning,
Yeah, because that was out near Boston. Where do you live?
I live in West Texas in Odessa.
You live in Odessa. So, yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It is getting around.
Yeah, and later I thought, what could it have been a drone? I said, well, there was no noise. It doesn't make any. There was no engines.
Right.
And it did bank. It banked a little bit, but the leading edge of it, which was kind of illuminated from the city lights. I live right downtown, but it's a small town. But
right.
That it was lit up, and it to me it looked like a fixed solid object. So I didn't think it was geese.
Well, no, if you could see the leading edge of it reflecting off of the city lights, that's pretty trippy, man.
And I don't know how high up it was, if just based on a scale of what the size that I saw would be the size of, like, say, a hang glider, But it could have been 200 feet in the air. It could have been 75 feet in the air.
Right. No noise, though.
I don't know.
And what time at night? Did you say 11:30? What time?
Well, 11:30 is when I posted about it. So it was about 10:45 at night.
Right.
It was dark.
Right.
That's Central Time.
Yeah, kind of late for a hang glider.
Yeah, a little late for a hang glider, and it's not going to catch any thermals.
Right. Exactly.
I haven't seen an active hang glider in years around here. I think they fly them over at Big Spring, but now the only other fact about that particular night was there was at Alpine, Texas, which is 2 hours south of here, 120 miles, and there's not much between here and there.
Right.
West Texas, it's desert. But there was a girl missing from a college down there, and during the daytime they had said they were going to deploy drones. And I thought, well, maybe this could have been a drone, but why would it be flying at night? Why would it not have any lights? And why would it not have any sound?
Right. Yeah, that's
whatever it was.
And what did you, Dennis, when you see something like this? I mean, what was your first reaction? Did you think us or them?
I'm sorry. Did I think us or them?
Yeah.
Well,
from Earth or not from Earth?
I was blown away. I hit my friend on the shoulder. We were sitting on the front porch. I said, "Do you see that? Look at that. And what the hell is that?"
Right.
I would think it was not from here.
Right. Wow, that's a great sighting. And no pictures, right?
No, it was like in a matter of, it was like the time, it was like over maybe less than 10 seconds because, like I say, it was flying directly over the top of us. My house is behind me, and it kind of, so the field of vision was limited. It was too quick to take a picture. Yeah. And, we were like later, why didn't we have cameras, why didn't we have them in our phone? Because, we're listening to the radio or whatever.
That's how it goes, man. That's how it goes. And what, and I totally get it. We've all done the same thing. What ultimately did it do? Did it go up to the stars? Did it just fly, out of sight? What happened?
It flew out of sight. It didn't, accelerate, and speed wise, it was, it was a slow, smooth movement, but it did bank a little bit and went to the more to the right, and that's where it disappeared from my field of vision. So
wow, that's a great sighting, man. That's a great sighting, Dennis, and thank you for sharing that with us. And always cell phone in your pocket, right, from here on out.
Yeah.
Do me that favor, okay?
I think with the cell phone might have been sitting beside me, and I probably didn't even think about taking a picture until afterwards. But
I know. I've done it. I've done it myself. I'm just as guilty as you are. But all I can do is my job and just say, Dennis, next time take a picture for me.
No kidding. Yeah, thank you.
All right.
Hey, I appreciate it, and I enjoy your show, and everybody over there at the Sandbox. I like to watch the Twitter, and I get in there every once in a while. But
yeah, it's
good group of people.
It's the best thing ever. Thank you so much for the phone call, Dennis. I really appreciate it.
All right, y'all have a good evening.
Yeah, you too. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. Turn me down in the background.
Hi, yes, thank you. This is the hands-on healer, Paul Barbaro, just saying keep up the good work. Jimmy, I really, really find comfort in your show, and you seem to be spot on, and I love hearing your guests.
You're the best, Paul. Don't ever change, my friend.
Thank you. I promise you I will never change, but the research keeps on going about the healing of planetary things and people and individuals and angels and guides and masters. But just keep up the good work. These are interesting times.
Yes, Paul. And where are you going to hang out next? What's your next conference?
Oh, my. I'm trying to get into the one in L.A. in March or thereabouts. I don't remember who's putting it on. I'm trying to get a hold of those people. I really, truly don't know. If I'm anywhere near L.A., though, I will invite you to, to wherever it is because I really want you to experience it.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. And it's the Conscious Life Expo. And, yeah, come on down. We'll be there all weekend. We've got like 3-4 events we're doing that weekend. So
you're not putting it on, are you?
No, that's one of the biggest expos in the country. That thing's huge. Huge.
Yeah, Conscious Life Expo. I have to get a hold of the people and just, put my name in as a backup speaker or just fill in just anywhere I can because I can get a crowd pretty quickly.
Yeah,
it's just a matter of the right people. If I need to put you down as a reference, can I use you as a reference?
Absolutely. Just you could probably contact them straight off the website.
Okay, thank you. I'll do that this evening.
You got it, Paul.
Anyway, keep up the good work. I really appreciate you being on the show. I really look forward to hearing you every night.
Thank you so much, Paul, and keep doing what you do, my friend.
And say hi to Rita for me. Thank you.
I sure will. Paul Barbaro, everybody. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're live. 3, 2, 1. Bam. All right. Okay, I cleared out that round of calls. 323-825-5045. 323-825-5045. It's Thursday night. It's Fader night. What was I going to... Oh. So back to Dennis and his comment about the cell phones. You can go and watch... there's a video that we have up on our YouTube channel. Just... I think it's called Jimmy Church and the Honda Guys, right? The Helpful Honda Guys. And that happened to us, man. We went out, we looked up, and all of the salesmen are all looking up into the sky. And I walk out, and there's this silver thing spinning way, way, way high up, 60,000 feet. And it must have been pretty big because it was a little dot and it's spinning and it's going against the wind. The wind's blowing one way, but that really didn't have anything to do with it because I wondered if it was like a balloon, but it would have had to have been 1,000 feet across or something, 2,000 feet because it was way high up. But it was moving. It wasn't being carried by this thing was like moving intentionally in a direction very slowly and way up high. And we stood out there for 15, 20 minutes. Nobody videotaped. Nobody videoed. I had a cell phone in my hand and all I did was stand there and stare at the sky. So I'm guilty of it, man. And then this thing, when it stopped spinning, it slowly stopped and then froze, and for a couple of minutes, man, it was so high up, and then just really slowly went straight up and disappeared in the blue sky. This is like 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and disappeared into the blue sky, went straight up. Yeah, it was trippy. Anyway, all right, 323-825-5045. The world's oldest inscribed 10 Commandments, the laws of God that were passed on to the Jewish leader Moses, as told in the Bible's Old Testament, were sold at auction yesterday evening for $850,000. Now, the identity of the winning bidder is unknown, and that was on their request. And the auction for the two... Now, somebody post this for me. Just go pull this off of our Facebook page and get this up. The auction for it was a 2-foot tablet, 115 pounds of marble, was held at Heritage Auctions right here in Beverly Hills, California. It was exported to the United States back in 2005 with the approval from the Israeli Antiquities Authorities, which said that the tablet must be presented in public, a condition which the auction house says still stands. It is believed that the tablet originally hung in a temple or synagogue that might have been torn down by the Roman Empire around 400 A.D. Now, there's a catch. There's a catch. It only has 9 of the 10 well-known commandments. The missing commandment, are you ready? The one that says, "You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain." So, it's not really the 10 commandments. It's the 9 commandments. Reminds me a little bit of, hey, thank you, Dennis, for getting this posted. That was cool. That was quick. There it is. That's what it looks like. Is that trippy? A little worn out. But there you go. $850,000. Little backstory to this, by the way. They expected, you would think, because this is the world's oldest version of this, and there's a couple of others out there that haven't been verified. One of them, Scott Wolter, remember, America Unearthed? He had one on one of the shows that was found here in the United States, and it was tiny, and it was in a little, if you remember, it was in a little box, little carved box. And that one was really, really old too. But this one, where was I going with that? Oh, I can't remember. There was something else I needed to say, but I forget. Well, anyway, oh yeah, Mel Brooks. Reminded me of Mel Brooks. Experts have discovered, and this is up on our Facebook page too as well. Experts have discovered, are you ready? A third structure within the Kukulkan Pyramid in eastern Mexico, the Mayan Pyramid, right? The one with the snake on the stairs, revealing that it was built like a Russian nesting doll. A 33-foot tall pyramid was found within the structure. Okay, let me explain. There is a pyramid within a pyramid within a pyramid. Okay? A 33-foot tall pyramid was found within another 20-meter structure, which itself is enveloped by the 30-meter pyramid, which is the one that we look at, the one that is visible at the Mayan complex of Chichen Itza in Yucatan. There it is. Now I want everybody to check this out. When you look at, let me retweet this really quick. And if you're on hold, stay right there. Stay right there. Okay, so when you look at this, that's 30 meters tall, right? 10, 20, 30. And I think the top structure is another 10 meters, so it's like 40. But inside the pyramid structure itself, there's another pyramid, and then there's another one, the smallest. Now, the smallest pyramid, now it turns out, was built between the years 550 and 800. The middle structure that was discovered in the 1930s, and that dates to the year 800 to around 1000. While the one that we're looking at here, right, this bad boy, that was built around 1050 to 1300 AD. Man, those steps, and just imagining the hearts getting cut out at the top and everybody being thrown down the steps and the pile of bodies that are down at the bottom. But anyway, there's 3 pyramids here now, not just one. Let's go to the phones. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're live.
Jimmy.
Yes.
Hey, it's Brian from Oklahoma.
Hey, Brian from Oklahoma. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. After last night, I got to thinking about different things that had happened. I had to tell my ghost story.
Oh, okay, you can, but you sound like you're in the wind, so get out of the wind.
Let me see if I can move out of the wind here.
Oh, man. Oh, this is brutal. This is brutal. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
All right. So when I lived in California for about 9 years, I was a security guard, and I worked at an industrials plant. And nobody was there. I'm supposed to go out and do my patrols. Every night, my wife would, we lived 2 or 3 blocks away. She would bring me dinner.
Right.
So I was a supervisor, so every so often I'd have to train a new guard out there. I come walking down the path because my beeper buzzes and tells me, somebody's at the gate. I come walking down, and I get there. My wife's there with dinner. I take the dinner, and I say, and she goes, "Who are you training?" I said, I'm not training anybody. I'm here alone tonight. She goes, "No, you're training somebody." She says, when you came down off the hill, she said, there was a guy about 6 inches shorter than you, maybe 2 feet behind you, walking with you.
What?
Yeah. I'm like, no, I'm not training anybody. There's nobody there. She goes, "No, I swear. He was right behind you. I couldn't see his uniform because he was wearing an overcoat. And he turned around, and as you walked down, he turned and walked into the building."
What?
So, of course, I flip out. I'm over, security guard kicks in. I'm checking the building. Nope, doors are all locked.
Right.
And she goes, "No, I'm telling you, he was 2 feet behind you." She said, right before you hit the street light at the gate, he turned and went into the building. I walked right over, checked the door. Door's locked. Never found out who it was or what it was, but she swears to this day he was right behind me.
Did you?
And I didn't even know it.
Yeah, so you didn't even feel a presence?
No. Now, that place had an employee that passed away at work in one of the offices, and they said that you would see him walk by some of the windows every once in a while.
Right.
But that was the first time that anybody said that they had seen him in the yard walking that close to somebody.
Oh, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah. I turned around, and, from that point on, for the rest of the night, I had one of those big 6-cell, mag lights.
Right.
That thing stayed on when I was out on patrol.
Right. Was she able to describe him, what he looked like?
She said it looked like a white guy with me, and that he was he had kind of a longer hair than what we were supposed to have, but he was wearing some sort of. She said it looked like he was wearing like a raincoat or an overcoat because it was kind of cool that time.
But
that was. She said she couldn't really see his face.
Well, what did the guy look like that died in the building? Was he a white dude?
Well, he was he was a white guy that was in his mid-50s who died of a heart attack up in one of the offices.
Right. What about his hair?
And I don't know about his hair. I never saw a picture. He had passed a couple years before I had started working out there.
Man, that's a spooky story. And she swears
Now,
by
I'll
it.
tell you-
You believe your wife.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I know that
she's not into, ghosts or anything like that. And you could tell when I went over and checked the door.
Right.
It flipped her out. She was ready to leave.
She didn't catch you with another woman, did she? And you had to you
No.
had to get out of this. It wasn't anything like that. You're being straight with me, Brian. She didn't catch you.
I am dead serious. Like I said, it freaked me completely out.
Sounds to me, the long hair at night coming off the hill.
Well, it was, and like I said, it wasn't long. We were supposed to kind of, not a military cut, but it wasn't supposed to be on your ears, wasn't supposed to be on your neck. She said this guy had hair, and she said it was a guy, had hair almost onto his shoulders.
Right. Wow.
So, and yeah, I never could figure it out. But like I said, for days, I'd walk around and just suddenly trying to turn around and see if somebody was behind me.
Yeah,
trying to catch it.
Right. And what about, did you go and check the security cameras?
We did not have outside security cameras.
Oh.
That's why we were there.
Okay, gotcha.
So.
Wow, that's
now,
creepy.
The other one.
Okay, yeah, real quick, because we got a break here in 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Yeah, okay. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was a radio operator. We had a battalion inspection. And this gunnery sergeant and me were burning the midnight oil. We were staying until, 1 o'clock in the morning to work.
Right.
And he had told me, and I had heard from other people, that a few years before, there had been a captain. He was in the Marines. He was in the reserves. He had stayed overtime all the time. Well, one night he fell asleep and drove off the road and died. And they, the big thing was, oh, yeah, his ghost is here. His ghost is here. Everybody kind of, no, this ain't true. Me and him were sitting there. We were working, and it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I kept seeing this Marine walk by the door, and he was dressed, not in his dress blues, but in the dress greens. And finally I looked over, I said, Gunny. He said, you've seen him too, huh? I said, yeah. He said, that's the captain, and he's telling us it's time to go home. I said, the captain? He goes, yeah, you've heard the story. I was like, no. He goes, yeah. And I'm telling you, that gunnery sergeant shut everything down. We went home for the night and came back in the next day.
What?
He said, when you start seeing him, it's time to go. And if you can spook a Marine gunny sergeant, hey.
You know what time it is, no doubt.
Yeah, it's time to leave.
Oh, man. Hey, Brian, one night you got to have your wife call in so I can ask her about this story.
I will.
Hey,
I'll talk to you later, Jimmy.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Be safe out there, Brian. Be safe. Thank you for the phone call. That's creepy right there. That's creepy. And you got to believe your wife, right? You got to believe your wife. This is Fade to Black. 323-825-5045. Thursday night, man. Best night of the week. Your phone calls. 323-825-5045. Love hanging out. Love it. You guys are the best. I'm your host, Jimmy Church, on the Game Changer Network and KGRA, The Planet. I'll be right back.
Hey, what up, y'all? It's your girl Vivica Fox here, and you are listening to my boy, Jimmy Church, on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will.
Does your basement or crawl space have a damp, musty smell? Well, watch out. That's a sign of too much moisture and not enough ventilation. And that can mean increased mold growth and the buildup of harmful toxins and gases. Don't bother with a dehumidifier. It just circulates the same unhealthy air. Now there's a better way to remove these dangers and odors. It's with the computerized Wave Moisture Control Unit that reduces moisture and expels pollutants.
We replaced our old dehumidifier with the Wave unit, and in only 3 weeks, our basement is dry and the musty smell
smell is gone.
Wave units require no maintenance, no buckets of water or filters, and costs only pennies a day to run. Breathe better, live healthier with an affordable, no-maintenance Wave unit. Call 888-618-WAVE, 888-618-WAVE, or visit mydryhome.com. mydryhome.com.
Ride the wave. Wave Home Solutions for a healthy, comfortable home.
What's up, Fadernauts? Studio Dome loves Fade to Black and the F2B audience so much that they have put together the ultimate stereo Bluetooth system. They've done it just for you. Man, check this out. The Studio Dome SBB2 stereo system is here. It's featuring 2 Studio Boombox 2 SBB2 wireless Bluetooth speakers, packed in its own custom hardshell case. This Studio Dome system features the very latest in stereo Bluetooth technology. The 2 full-range boomboxes are in true wireless stereo. You've got to hear this. It's amazing. It's just $129, and use the promo code JCRTWS, and you'll also get free shipping. It's simple. Just go to jimmychurchradio.com, click on the Studio Dome banner. Go Beckley Teppy.
This is Kristen, Erica, Brittany, Gabby, and you're listening to JChurchRadio.com.
It's not a lifestyle we chose. We were born this way. KGRARadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
Welcome back to Fade to Black, Thursday night, Fader Night. 323-825-5045. If you're on hold, stay right there. Got 816 coming up next, 973-970. You guys just stay right there. We'll get to all of you. All right, but check this out. The remains of a man who died in a hot spring accident in Yellowstone National Park. His remains were dissolved before they could be recovered. Colin Scott, 23 years old, died in June in an illegal attempt to soak or hot pot in Yellowstone's thermal pools. The incident report says that the accident was recorded by the victim's sister on her mobile phone. The recording of the video of her brother on her phone, she did it as he reached down to test the water when he slipped and fell in. Workers were unable to find any significant remains in the boiling water. Colin Scott dissolved almost immediately in the boiling acidic pool. Man. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black. You're live.
Hey, Jimmy.
Yes.
Jimmy?
Yes.
Hey, Jimmy, it's Marty from Wisconsin. How are you?
Hey, Marty from Wisconsin. How are you?
Doing pretty good. First-time caller, pretty new fader. Love the show.
Right on, right on, right on.
So, hey, I wanted to touch on a subject back in a conversation you had on Tuesday with one of the callers. There's an African-American gentleman
right.
called in regards to, like, basically, you know, UFO sightings. And I know you mentioned in the conversation yourself that, you know, some of your acquaintances around town that have been in your circle, you know, have seen things as well. But there seems to be like a major, like, reluctance to kind of come out with anything.
Right.
And I was just wondering, you know, trying to get to pick your brain on this, because I kind of see this crossing paths with you know, some of my experiences, kind of in a different area, but with regards to, like, basically mental health, emotional well-being, things like that.
Okay.
You know, and it's pretty well known that there's you know, there's a fairly you know, fairly large for a lot of patients in the African American community to to really open up and come forth with discussing issues with emotional health and things like that, because there's at least in my arena there's a stigma because of whatever family ties, the community, faith-based issues, spirituality, etc. And I'm just wondering if any of your discussions, where some of your friends have been like, no, I'm not telling anyone else about this. If that's kind of crossed paths with you there as far as that kind of response.
Yeah, and Marty, thank you for the phone call. You're breaking up a little bit, by the way. I just want to let you know, but I caught most of it, and thank you for the phone call. I can't believe I just coughed on the air, but thank you for the phone call, and I'll go ahead and I'll give you my answer off of the air because you're breaking up a little bit, that's all. But
sorry about it.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, you're still breaking up. I was hoping
probably the Bluetooth.
Yeah, I was hoping you would come back. Okay, well, Marty, thank you for the phone call. The thing is this, and what Hilton and other friends of mine that have talked to me about this, you know what? They even if they saw something, they're going to tell you that they didn't. I'm talking about, the generality of the African community, the black community. That's it. You could sit there, you could see it together, and you'll say no. That's it. They don't want to believe in it. They don't want to, they just, and I guess that's just the way it is. I don't know why. And it was so funny because if we go back and listen to Hilton talk about that on the air, it was a few years ago. It was really, really, really funny. He was like, dude, no, it just didn't happen. We wouldn't admit it. Even if we saw it together, I didn't see it. You can say what you want, but no, you're not going to get me to back you up. And I just find that fascinating, absolutely fascinating. And like I said, I have a friend of mine that saw something so incredible in the sky, and the way that he describes it, I want him, before I say, eventually I'm probably going to have to tell his whole story because he just will not come on the air. But and I'll end up telling you. But the story is incredible. The sighting is incredible. And it's so much so that I just want it heard because the details and how it changed his life, it's just amazing. So I want to save it. But it was incredible, and it was over Los Angeles. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Yeah, hi, Jimmy. Hey, I just want to ask you a quick question.
Sure. Who's calling?
By any chance, when you asked the airport about that plane flying overhead, I have a cousin that flies for Evergreen, and I'm sure you're familiar with that.
Uh-huh.
When they do these chemtrails over a city,
right,
99% of the time it's strictly to control the weather.
It could be.
Really,
sure.
Because when Texas had that big flood,
right?
Not flood, the hurricane. There was another hurricane that came right after it, and I said to my wife, I said, they're going to push it away. The one that destroyed, when Katrina destroyed New Orleans, I said, they're not going to let another one hit Houston. Bigger than daylights, they were out there spraying the sky like crazy, back and forth. And the wife said, they're going to bring it here. I said, no, they're pushing it away.
Interesting.
This is about controlling weather. And the one thing they really want to control, and this will make sense to you more than anything, they don't want this wet air to reach the Midwest because they want to be able to control the price of wheat and corn.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so if they can stop the Gulf air from getting the Gulf wet air from getting all the way up there,
mm-hmm.
they can keep the price of wheat and corn very high.
Yeah, no, there's no what you are saying right now it has to be a big part of all of it, and I'll tell you why. It's not. It's one thing here in the United States to control the commodities market, right? That makes sense.
Right.
But it's also the same mindset can be used as a weapon for another country that is not behaving, right? Or is not on your, right? And the next thing you know, you see drought and you see crops and, and it's like being sent to your room, right? You're grounded for a week. Right? And then when you come out of your room and you listen to your parents, well, you do for a few days at least, right? And it's the same thing here. It's a form of punishment to governments around the world that are not playing by Washington's rules. And I don't question that.
I've noticed. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
The one thing that I have really noticed is no matter what television channel you watch, if there's a National Geographic on and it's showing, I don't care where it is, Western Australia, if they show the sky, there's a chemtrail. They got people so used to seeing these things that they pay no attention to them anymore.
Right.
They think it's normal. It's not. And what you're saying is the absolute truth. They have the whole world, the superpowers, Monsanto and all, they got to be behind this. It's got to be money because this cost a fortune to put all those chemicals up there.
Right.
The pilots, the planes, the time. It's got to be about and punishing countries. Absolutely, it's flexing their wings.
And then you have to. Then you take it to the next level. Who has got the technology and the laboratories and the ability to manufacture these chemicals? Well, it would be the company like Monsanto. I wouldn't question this at all. Monsanto that is selling the seeds to the farmers, right? So they're selling the seeds. They've got a monopoly on that. They've got a monopoly on all of the pesticides that are being sprayed on the seeds that they're selling to the farmers. And then they sell them the pesticides to control that. And then they're controlling the weather, so they control how the seeds grow. Hey, have a bad crop year. Let's sell them another round of seeds. Let's sell them better. Blame it on insects. Let's sell them. It is crazy when you think about it like that. And it's a perfect machine that is running. It makes absolute sense. Control the commodities market. You're controlling the farmers. You're controlling the prices of everything. You're selling them the seeds. You're selling them the pesticides. And you might as well control the weather, too, to dictate everything else. Because you're selling them everything else. Yep, no question about it.
We only look at Part A, but it's Part A, B, C, and D.
That's right.
You're absolutely right. The whole thing's linked together, and it's follow the money trail, and it's undeniable. You have to be blind to think this isn't going on. But the average person, totally blind.
Yep. Totally. You're absolutely right. I'm not right. You are right. And I want to thank you for the phone call. What was your name again?
Cliff.
Yeah, thank you, Cliff. Great phone call, man. You're and keep welcome. Your eyes open, Thanks, man. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
That's a great phone call right there. Now, Dennis Hill, right? I've got his original tweet from October 26th right here, and here it is, October 26th. Fade to black. #F2B. I just saw a boomerang-shaped object with no lights, no sound, and the leading edge was slightly lit up from reflective city lights. I'm looking at it right here. Absolutely incredible. Dennis, man. That's a great, man. That was a great phone call, and Rita just sent that in here to me. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hi, Jimmy. It's Jordan from Colorado.
Hey, Jordan from Colorado. How are you, man?
Good. How you doing?
It's Thursday night, man. How do you think I'm doing?
Doing great.
I'm doing great. What's up, man? What's up?
Well, I wanted to tell my story about the time I got to tour an aerospace program.
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Well, it all starts because my girlfriend, she wants to be an engineer for the space program.
Okay.
And so we're sitting at my grandparents' house, and she was just bringing it up to him. And then they said that, our neighbor, she works at Ball Aerospace. So we're like, what? I lived there for a year, and I was like, you didn't tell me about that? So
right.
I was kind of tripping out. So we go and we knock on her door, and she's like, and we started talking and everything, and she was like, yeah, that's cool. I could give you a tour of Ball Aerospace. And I was like, can I come? Just because I wanted to go too. And she said, yeah, sure. She really thought it was cool that I was in a band and everything. And so we get down there, and they make us take out our cell phones and everything in our pockets. So I was like, oh, this is the real deal. So we take out our cell phones and we go through security, which was intense. And then so we walk in there, and the first thing you see is like all these rooms. And I was like, what do you use these for? And she was like, oh, this is where we test all the equipment for the astronauts or whatever. And I was like, that's really cool. And I asked if I could go in there, and she said no. And then we walked by some other rooms, and I said, what are these rooms? And she said, oh, you can't go in there. And I was like, why? And she said, because they're secret. And I was like, what do you mean they're secret? And she wouldn't really say anything. So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool.
Right.
And so we walk into all these other rooms and stuff, and then we go to another one, and she said, this is the quietest room in the world. And I was like, what? So we walk in there, and it literally is so quiet you can hear yourself breathing. Like, it's so quiet in there, and that's where they test other equipment too.
Right, with microphones, and they record and all that stuff.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool. And then we go into this huge room, and I was like, what is this used for? And she said, it's for more testing equipment and stuff. And I noticed that they have you ever seen Galaxy Quest?
8,000 times. I watched it 2 nights ago again.
I love that movie. But they have a giant poster of the sphere, the sphere.
Yes. Right.
They have a giant poster of that, and I was like, why do you have that? She said, oh, we just really love Galaxy Quest, and we think it would be cool to make our own sphere.
Their own beryllium sphere, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I was tripping on that. I thought that was really cool. And, like, you wouldn't even know where this place was. It was so hidden. I didn't even know what it was. It just looked like a building and just normal.
Yeah.
And,
did you get to secret stuff? What happened? Are you going to get in trouble disclosing this on the air?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Didn't get any of the secret stuff, but I was just kind of asking about UFOs and stuff because that's just who I am. And she was all yeah, we all pretty much believe it. And she gave me an article, and it was about you remember the story about the solar panels and how it's feeding off of the star that they found on Hubble.
Yes.
Yeah, she gave me that article, and she says, whatever they say about this, don't believe them because we found something. And I was like, what is it? And she wouldn't tell me, so I was kind of bummed.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then I think the coolest part of it, though, is I got to hold a piece of the Hubble telescope because that's where they made it.
Oh, really? So
yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah. The astronaut, Story Musgrave, he must have worked there because he was the designer behind it. Huh. That's really cool. That's really, really cool, Jordan.
Yeah, it was. I was tripping, man. I was like holding the pieces of the Hubble, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, right on,
so
man.
Cool.
Right on. All right, Jordan, be safe out there, man. So I hear that you guys are going to be able to smoke weed in restaurants, man. You guys are out of control. Colorado is off the hook.
Hey, man, what can I say? Colorado's a bomb.
I'll talk to you, man. Thank you so much, Jordan.
Thanks, man.
You got it. That's. I would love to take a tour. Check this out. One of my oldest friends, if not my oldest friend here in California, Rob, his sister, Elena, I'm just going to go ahead and say this out loud. I'm not going to say his last name. His sister, Elena, works at JPL. And last month, she wrote me and says, would you like to come up and take a personal tour of JPL? And I said, absolutely. And she said, when do you want to do it? I said, I'll do it anytime. So I've got this set up, and I'm going to go over to JPL. And Elena is a little older than me. And back in the day, actually, she actually used to cut my hair, which is kind of funny, in my long hair days. And so I've known her for 30 plus years. And she knows what I'm all about. And so having this happen is one of the coolest things, like in ever. And there you go. So I will have a full report, and I will ask all the right questions. All right, let's go to the phones. Last call of the night. Hi, you're live on Fade to Black.
Hey, Jimmy, it's Mark.
Hey, Mark, how are you?
All right, it's Mark Walsh.
Hi, Mark. I know. How you doing, man? Monte Cristo.
I'm doing great, man.
Monte Cristo.
What's that?
Monte Cristos, huh?
Hey, we missed you last weekend.
Yeah, man. I know.
Yeah, well, Brad was here, though.
Yeah, I know. We were talking about you. Almost flew up, but we had stuff going on. Rita had a pretty important thing to do Saturday, and there was no way out of that. And it was one of those last minute things. We're like, okay, let's just go. Let's just pack bags and go. So there you go. So what's on your mind?
I wanted to add, since no one's calling and talking about UFOs, and we've talked many times, and I don't think I've ever told you about some of my sightings. We've had several, so I thought I'd share.
Well, why would you do this 2 minutes before the show was ending, Mark? I mean, wait.
Well, that was a bang.
What? I mean, I want to give you time. You got a whole 120 seconds, and most of it I'm going to waste yapping. So, okay.
Well, it could be to be continued.
Okay, all right. Give me the best, shortest one. And Mark, get set, go.
All right. So Holly and I were kicking back in the hot tub one night, looking up at the stars and checking out for craft. And all of a sudden, we see something move. We're looking, and it was one of those like triangular crafts, which I believe those are our own. But it was interesting because it was cloaked. And so what we saw it like starting to uncloak, but it was still transparent. And it was like uncloaking and then turning at the same time. It was like doing this rotational thing. And then it cloaked back out again and then took off. But it was really interesting because, it was fairly close. I mean, we were able to make out the whole shape and everything, but transparent.
When you say close, what do you mean close?
Well, looking up at it, I would say it was almost the size of the moon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Fairly close.
Now, okay, yeah. But you guys are in a hot tub, so that means you're drinking. Little, right?
Yeah, but we both saw it at the same time. It's like,
wow.
It was crazy. Yeah, and it was partially cloaked. It was, you could see through it.
Wow.
You could see the shape, and it was rotating.
And
right? So it didn't have any bright lights or anything like that because it wasn't fully, physical.
Where was this?
That was my quick one.
Was this in Sacktown?
Oh, it was in Brentwood.
Yeah, it was in Brentwood.
Yeah,
down
Brentwood,
here in
California.
In Brentwood, in Los Angeles or up in
Northern California by Discovery Bay. Where
right. That Brentwood, because Brentwood is down here too. Where UCLA is. That's okay. So yeah, wow. That is how long did it last?
About 2 or 3 seconds. It was quick.
Wow. No noise.
No noise, totally quiet.
No pictures.
But I have seen one of those, the white ball. Now, we had one of the white balls fly over the house. We were in the backyard. I got a phone in my hand, just like you. I got a phone in my hand, and I'm trying to call, like, my neighbor, hey, you got to come see this, instead of videotape it.
Right.
Looking up at the sky. And here's this big white ball just cruising over the house, not going real fast, and just cruising. Quiet, completely quiet. You can tell it wasn't craft,
Right.
I mean, size-wise, if I had to calculate, looking at it, it was probably, larger than like Venus or Saturn, but not as big as the moon. But pretty large.
Right.
White ball, just kind of just cruising over the house.
Now back to the hot tub. Let's talk about the hot tub.
Yeah.
So do you?
A lot of sightings in that hot tub.
Well, do you think because it was so close and it just showed up for a few seconds and it did its cloaking uncloaking thing? Do you think it was done for the two of you?
I don't know. We kind of talked about that. I'm not sure because a lot of times when we were in the hot tub, we would try to call in craft.
Right.
We do the CE5 initiative. We go up and try to call them in so that we could see stuff, and it would work a lot of the time. We've seen a lot of craft. We had the flashers where they would flash us.
Right.
You'd see a little ball moving, and they would flash us. We've had the flashing.
Right.
But that one was really interesting. That one really kind of tripped us out because, to me, the feeling I got from it was immediately that it was not extraterrestrial, that it was ours.
Right.
And it left you with one of those kind of weird, eerie feelings, like, oh my God, that thing just, it was invisible, it was cloaked, we saw it uncloak and then cloak again.
So, and
I don't know if it's because of how we were, thinking.
Holly just said she was clothed. She was clothed in the hot tub. Okay. Well, anyway, so, maybe that.
What?
But this is the thing. After that, because you're in a hot tub, right, and you're there to relax and do your thing. But how did you guys discuss it after that? Because it was only for a few seconds. What if you would have been looking the other way? What if you would have been doing something else? Hey, Mark, I'm going to try to bring in Les. Hold on for a second. Les, are you there? Okay, Mark, I've got to say goodnight, my brother, because I got to get Les in here so he could read my credits and say goodnight.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you so much, Mark. Give my best to Holly.
All right, take care. Good night.
Let me, okay, Les, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Got you. Okay. What's up, brother?
Not a mucho, man. How you doing? Good show tonight.
Yeah, man. Great show tonight, man. I just love Thursday nights. I really do. And what's funny? When you have somebody on like Ronnie last night and the shows that we had this week, just totally great, totally fun. Dr. Rita Louise, just a great week. And then we roll around to Thursday night, and it's so hard for me to say that this is the best night of the week because I don't want to offend any guests, any other calls or whatever. But Thursday night kicks ass. It is just, Jimmy, man.
Yeah, every night is the best night ever on Fade to Black.
Somebody asked me once, what's your favorite show? The last one. The next one. That's what I'm sticking to. That's my thing. And Les, I'm sorry to get you in here so late tonight, but you know how it is, man. And now you got to just take us out of here. I hope life is well. I hope everything is good in your world.
It's wonderful, Jimmy.
Take us out of here, brother.
Yes, sir. Special thanks to Jon Rappoport and all the first-time callers and Fadernauts who phoned home tonight. Fade to Black executive producer is Rita Camarion. Special thanks to LJ3, that's me, Renee, Jonas, Mark. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, Brother Bob. Announcers are Steve Harder, Gene Bateau, and Mark D. Kovar. Fady by Dale. Webmaster is Drew, the Geek. Music, Doug Aldrich. Intro, Spaceboy. Visit him at spaceboymusic.com. Fade to Black is produced by KJCR for the Game Changer Network. Syndication is KGRA The Planet. And with that, for the week, Jimmy and I are out of
here. Thank you so much, Les. Be safe, man. I'll see you tomorrow night on Coast.
Yes, sir.
LJ3. This broadcast is owned and copyrighted 2016 by Fade to Black and the Game Changer Network. It cannot be rebroadcast, downloaded, copied, or used anywhere in the known universe without written permission from Fade to Black or the Game Changer Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. I'll see everybody tomorrow night over on Coast to Coast AM, sitting in for George Norrie, and I'll also be there Saturday night. Follow me on Twitter at JChurchRadio. Everybody be safe. Go Beckley Tepe.